Spider-Man No Way Home is a sequel to Spider-Man Homecoming in 2017 and Spider-Man Far From Home in 2019, and is the 27th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The film, like the other two, is directed by Jon Watts and stars Tom Holland as Peter Parker/Spider-Man. Just to give you a little background on how this movie was actually produced, Sony Pictures actually owns the rights to the Spider-Man character, not Marvel. The two, though, however, worked out an arrangement so that Spider-Man, one of the most famous Marvel characters, could be included into the greater Marvel Cinematic Universe. This deal, though, came to a conclusion in 2019, but due to fan backlash, the two companies worked out a further deal to produce another Spider-Man movie. This is how No Way Home features several actors reprising their roles from the earlier non-MCU movies, the Spider-Man films directed by Sam Raimi, and the Amazing Spider-Man films directed by Mark Webb. Now, albeit the casting of Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin, Alfred Molina as Dr. Octopus, and Jamie Foxx as Electro was well known before the initial release date, the surprise recasting of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield was of course kept well hidden before the movie's release. The film, though, has gone on to gross $1.6 billion, surpassing its predecessors, and became the highest grossing film released by Sony Pictures. It also became the highest grossing film of 2021, and of course the biggest since the COVID-19 pandemic. Spider-Man No Way Home is definitely the best of the trilogy. It's a nostalgic ride for those who loved the first two films in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. Let's not mention the third. And the Amazing Spider-Man movies. I've always found Tobey Maguire's interpretation and Sam Raimi's first two films captured the Spider-Man character perfectly. And having loved most of what the MCU has put forth, I've never found that they've really understood the Spider-Man character. They've tried to intertwine his character too much within the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and at times he's almost felt like Iron Man light. Tom Holland has been okay in the role, and I've never really loved his dynamic between MJ and Ned. The other annoyance in the films has been Marisa Tomei's take on Aunt May. She just gets under my skin. In this movie, however, they go a long way to explain their various choices throughout the series, and the use of the multiverse, albeit complicated, adds to the story arc nicely. There will, however, be a lot of unanswered questions, and frankly, sometimes to fully grasp some of the stories in the new Marvel presentations, you almost feel like you need a master's in rocket science. In saying that, though, bringing back some of the old actors and characters was a real delight. I loved seeing Willem Dafoe as Norman Osborn and Alfred Molina as Dr. Octopus. This really brought a smile to my face. The best part of the film, though, had to be the shock returns, firstly of Andrew Garfield from the Amazing Spider-Man films, who got a rise out of the audience I was sitting with, and then, of course, the original, Tobey Maguire, who literally got the audience to clap and cheer, as if we were watching a live theatre show. That was, for me, where the movie really picked up nicely. Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange is always on point, and the train CGI sequence was a real delight visually. Like any MCU movie, I cannot fault this film when it comes to the visuals. Story-wise, the first half was okay, but it really picked up in the second half. It is the only film in the trilogy that I find really captured and understood what it really is to be Peter Parker's Spider-Man. After all, Spider-Man makes a lot of mistakes. He is human, an average-looking kid with a below-average bank account, trying to find his way through love, life, and everything else. But with this extraordinary ability, which he has to nurture, and hide his own face behind a mask in order to protect those he loves the most. This film finally understands who Spider-Man really is. The film also finally captures the most famous line in all of Spider-Man canon. With great power comes great responsibility. Spider-Man No Way Home gets a 7 out of 10.